hi everyone. Welcome back to our final episode today of Matt Sports Talk, and in terms of season 2, and we are looking at my updated national tournament bracket as of today. And of course, I'll be recording a video. It's not going to be tomorrow because the final 4 rounds are not until tomorrow night. So this will be my last episode until Tuesday, when I recap the final 4 games. In terms of Marian, of course, they played Dakota Wesleyan, so I'll be recapping that game on Tuesday and giving you an updated view of my bracket as well. And if Dordt does lose to Dakota State tomorrow night, then my final updated bracket will be on Tuesday as well. So again, make sure you stay tuned for that. If that's not the case, then I'll be recording a video on Wednesday after the national championship game has been completed Tuesday night, showing you, or giving you rather, an updated view, or a final view, or final record, I should say, of my bracket for this year. And again, I've alluded to this in the last video, but my final episode for both men and the women in terms of Crossroads League basketball will be coming your way either Thursday or Friday, when I'll be recapping the season, just how well did all the Crossroads League schools do, who were some key players, in my opinion, that really stood out this year, all that good stuff. That'll be coming your way then, and that will officially end season 2 of Matt Sports Talk. So again, if you have been with me this whole entire season, thank you so much. And if you've been with me from the very beginning, when I started doing these episodes January of 2025, thank you so much for being here with me during this whole entire length of time. Again, I truly appreciate that, and I also appreciate any feedback that you may provide me. So looking at my updated bracket, of course, when I recorded a video yesterday giving you an updated bracket standing, I should say, after the Sweet 16 rounds, I went 6-2. Overall, 41-15 after that round. Now, yesterday, I did struggle in the Elite 8 round. I went just 1-3. The only game I got correct was Dordt, and I got Marian wrong, or got Campbellsville wrong, because I had Campbellsville beating Marian. That did not happen, so I got that game wrong. I had Bethel, Tennessee beating Dakota Wesleyan. That did not happen. I had Bethel, Tennessee. Dakota Wesleyan won with a huge 40-point game. I believe her name was Riley Bloomquist, if I'm not mistaken. Again, if I got her last name wrong, I sincerely apologize. She put up 40 points for Dakota Wesleyan. It's just an unbelievable game. And then, of course, Bethel, Tennessee's Micah Hart put up 35 points. So that apparently was a really good game last night. And believe it or not, I said yesterday that again, I know I'd written these picks down on my bracket, but I had said yesterday, in my own personal opinion, that I really thought Dakota Wesleyan was going to beat Bethel, Tennessee. They did. I really thought Marian was going to beat Campbellsville, because Marian's just red hot right now, and I really think they're just too good. And believe it or not, I got that correct, at least just my own personal opinion. And then obviously I got Dordt correct, because I think Dordt's just an elite powerhouse. And of course they have a very tough game against Dakota State, a team that they played back during the non-conference schedule and won that game. Dordt did, only by 3. I believe it was 89-86. So that could be another super good game coming up tomorrow. So that my Elite 8 round record is 1-3, obviously getting Dordt correct and missing the other 2. My overall record, 42-18, which is not bad, because I believe last year I went 43-20, I want to say, which again, that last year was my first year. This year I've done a little bit better, which again, obviously, I want to improve each and every year. And believe it or not, with doing more homework this year, with looking up general seed lines for all the teams that made the national tournament this year, that really helped me. So again, super thankful that I did a bracket this year. I'll continue to do a bracket moving forward. So again, definitely a fun year, that's for sure. Pardon me. And then looking at the upcoming games, of course, I had Bethel, Tennessee playing Campbellsville in the final 4 round. That's not going to happen, because it will be Dakota Wesleyan and Marian. I had Freed Hardman and Dordt playing in the final 4. Obviously, with Freed Hardman, that did not happen, but I did get Dordt correct in the final 4. So that is an updated view of my bracket. So as I conclude this episode today, which will be our final episode until Tuesday, so at least now in terms of my bracket, the only game that I have on my bracket, the only team on my bracket that I'm still alive with is Dort. So now you might be wondering, well, what's your personal opinion on who wins these games despite what's written down on your bracket? Well, I'm getting ready to answer that question. So Dort versus Dakota Wesleyan. This is going to be a super, super good game. And again, I think these two teams, they played very, very well in the non-conference schedule. Of course, I mentioned Dort won that game by 3 points. I think this game is equally as close, and I would not be surprised if Dakota Wesleyan upsets, or Dakota State upsets Dort. I would not be surprised at that because Dakota State, they're loaded with talent. You got Caitlin Dyer, you have Tabor Teal, you also have Bria Wasmond, and those three players came up big in Dakota State's win over who they play, Dakota State and Georgetown. And yeah, I mean, and in that game versus Georgetown, it came down to 6 points in favor of Dakota State. And I think for Dakota State, if they don't score, I think if they score more than 75 points, I think they win this game. I really, really do. If Dakota State does not score 75 points and Dort does, then I think Dort wins this game. So this is going to be an absolute barn burner, at least in my opinion. Of course, on the other side with Dort, of course, you have Gracie Schoenhoven. You also have, Macy Sievers, Willow Bleeker, two amazing players. Bill Harmson, head coach, done a great job. And obviously, Dort is a powerhouse. And of course, both teams are kind of local to the area, more so Dort because they're from Sioux Center, Iowa, which is 45 minutes apparently up the road from Sioux City. So again, do I think Dort's going to win this game? Yes. Do I think that there's a chance that Dakota State upsets them? Yes. I think the only likelihood of Dakota State doing that is if Dakota State scores, I think, more than 75 and holds Dort to only 70. Then I think that could go Dakota State's way. On the flip side of that, if Dort scores over 75 and Dakota State only scores 65 or 70, which is pretty much where they were against Indiana Wesleyan despite their 8-point win in that Sweet 16 matchup on Thursday, then I think Dort wins this game if that is the case. But obviously for Dort, I mentioned their players and their head coach, David Moe, who is just absolutely amazing, and he's done such a great job with that program. And of course, they went undefeated at home this year, 16-0, and the last time they went perfect at home, they made the Final Four, which is exactly where they are right now. So that's just an unbelievable achievement. That is for sure. So those are my thoughts on that game. But again, I think it's going to be super, super close, and it would not surprise me if Dakota State wins this game. I think more than likely Dort wins this game. I think Dort is way too good. However, in terms of both teams have an equal amount of size down low. They both like to run in transition. They both like to press and force turnovers. So that's, I think, going to be another key emphasis on this game, is whoever wins the turnover battle, I think, is going to win the game. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. And then Marion versus Dakota Wesleyan. Who do I think is going to win this game? Because obviously this game does not matter to my bracket. So my personal opinion on this game, Marion versus Dakota Wesleyan. This is another super, super tough game for me to kind of predict on paper. Again, I've watched Dakota Wesleyan play. Dakota Wesleyan played excellent against Lizzie Wilson. They forced a lot of turnovers. They won the rebounding battle, and they were excellent shooting from three-point range. Now, if Dakota Wesleyan can be red hot from three-point range and shut Marion down at the three-point line, I think Dakota Wesleyan wins this game. I don't think that, now, yes, Dakota Wesleyan has a lot of size, but you're going up against Abby McNally, who is truly one of the best post players in NAIA women's basketball history. I don't think Dakota Wesleyan scores enough points down low unless they get McNally in foul trouble, which is very doable. I think more than likely for Dakota Wesleyan to win this game, I think they have to rely on the three-point shooting as well as being really good at the free throw line. And again, but then again, on the other side of that, Marion this whole entire tournament has forced at least 20 or more turnovers, and they have won that category every single game. So if Marion is able to force Dakota Wesleyan into 20-plus turnovers, I think Marion wins this game. again, again, this is super, super tough for me. I'm going Marion in this one. I'm going Marion in this one. I think they are just too good right now. I think that they shut Dakota Wesleyan down in terms of inside shooting. I think they'll force Dakota Wesleyan to shoot from the outside, which again, Dakota Wesleyan, they shot really, really well from three against Lindsey Wilson. And Bethel, Tennessee. Of course, that was a super, super close game. Both teams kind of struggled shooting in that game, at least a little bit, not too terribly much though. But I do think that that Dakota Wesleyan, could they win this game? I'm still going Marion in this game. I think if Dakota Wesleyan scores in the 80s, I think they're going to win this game. However, I don't see Dakota Wesleyan scoring in the 80s back-to-back games. I think they have to score at least 70, maybe 75 to have a chance at beating Marion. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Marion's just too good. They're forcing a lot of turnovers every game. Marion has all the momentum. I like Marion by 5 to 10 points in this game. I just think that Abby McNally is just too much for Dakota Wesleyan to handle. Of course, you also have Taylor Double, who's been lights out in this tournament. Kenna Kirby as well, who has been phenomenal from the outside. So I have Marion winning this game by at least 5 to 10 points and advancing to play Dordt in a national championship game. That's how I see things, at least just my own personal opinion on, how good are these teams? What can they do? What have they shown throughout this tournament? What are some key takeaways? So again, all that good stuff. But I have Marion in this game, and then I mentioned Dordt in the other game over Dakota State. So that is my prediction. I have Marion, pardon me, I have Marion versus Dordt for the national championship on Tuesday night. At least that's how I see things. But again, it would not surprise me if Dakota Wesleyan or Dakota State both wins. If that happens, that would actually be crazy that you would have two teams with the name Dakota competing for a national championship. And of course, if that happens, of course, you have Dakota Wesleyan out of a GPAC, you have Dakota State out of the Frontier. So that would be kind of crazy. But on the other side, if you have Marion versus Dordt for the national title, which is my personal opinion and prediction based on what I've seen so far throughout this tournament, if it's Marion versus Dordt, man, that would be one heck of a game. That really, really would. And again, I just would think, I probably would not be able to make a prediction in that one. I think it would just be too good of a barn burner to make a prediction. Two teams with very elite offenses, excellent on defense. They both force a lot of turnovers. So again, obviously we got to get through the round tomorrow night before we even worry about the game itself. So we got to get through the first game tomorrow night, I should say, before we even get to Marion versus Dakota Wesleyan. So those are my thoughts on the game, my updated view of my bracket as well. So if you did enjoy this video or find it very helpful and informative, please either like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly. I truly appreciate any feedback they may provide me. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on Tuesday with more of Matt's Sports Talk when we'll recap the games from tomorrow night, and I'll be sharing an updated view on my bracket as well. Can't wait to dive into all of that. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on Tuesday. God bless.